Greetings, everyone, all my scholars, all my wonderful parents. Hopefully, you are all doing okay. Today, I'm going to do a quick review on subtracting mixed number fractions. I'm going to be doing a quick review on subtracting mixed number fractions. I'm going to be giving a couple examples of subtracting mixed number fractions, both while regrouping and also just standard non-regrouping fraction problems as well. So let's get ready to jump on in. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you and also using my whiteboard. Here I go. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start by showing you regrouping mixed number subtraction problems. My first step in this process is to write my equation in stacked form. I'm going to write my equation in stacked form. So the problem I'm going to do for you is 12 and 3/6 minus 8 and 4/6 equals. So again, my equation is 12 and 3/6 minus 8 and 4/6. Before I move on, I just want to quickly go over the parts of a fraction. When I have a mixed number, I know that a mixed number consists of a whole number and a proper fraction. 12 represents, and I'm going to underline these in red, 12 represents my whole number, and my fraction, I'm going to box it in green, it's 3/6. Yes, and so that is going to determine my mixed number. My mixed number is always going to be consisted of a whole number and a proper fraction. To be a proper fraction, my numerator must be smaller or less than my denominator. My numerator, which tells me the certain number of parts I'm looking at, has to be less than or smaller than my denominator, which tells me my total. So 12 and 3/6 is a mixed number, and 8 and 4/6 as well is a mixed number. So after my step one, which is to always start by writing my equation in stacked form, my next step, step two, is going to be to always start subtracting with my fractions. So I'm going to look at 3/6 minus 4/6. I know that I cannot take away 4 from 3. If I have 3 pieces of bubble gum and I have 4 students, I cannot give each student an equal amount. I cannot take 4 away from 3. So I need to borrow. That is going to be my third step. My third step is to borrow. When I borrow, I'm going to borrow from my whole number, which is 12. I'm going to cross out my 12. I'm going to make that an 11. I want to make it 11. However, I still need to have 12 because 12 is going to still remain in my head as my whole number. When I'm thinking about fractions, I know that if my numerator and my denominator are both the same number, it's going to equal 1 whole. If my numerator and denominator are the same number, it is going to equal 1 whole. So I know that since my denominator is 6, I can do 6 over 6, and that's going to equal 1. And I know that 11 plus 1 equals 12. I'm always going to make my denominator and my numerator the same number. After I borrow from my whole number, I'm going to make it an 11, and then I'm going to put 1 whole fraction, which is 6 over 6, or whatever my denominator is. because I know that 11 plus 1 equals 12. And now I have to do something. I have to do something to this fraction. That's going to be my step 3. My step 3 is going to be to carry over my fraction. My step 3 is going to be to carry over my fraction. And my fraction is 3, 6. And then I'm going to add them together to make a new improper mixed number. So my mixed number is going to, my whole number is going to stay the same, which is 11. And now I'm going to add my fractions together. I know that when I'm adding fractions, my denominator will be the same. So my denominator is going to still be 6. And so I only need to add my numerators. I only need to add my numerators. So 6 plus 3 equals 9. So my new improper mixed number is improper because my numerator is now greater than or bigger than my denominator, and that makes it improper. So my new improper mixed number is 11, 9, 6. 11 and 9, 6. My step 4, my step 4 is going to be to move my second mixed number. I'm going to move that over. I'm going to move that over about this arrow. So I'm going to write 8 and 4, 6. Now I'm going to subtract. So now I am ready to evenly subtract these two fractions. Remember, my next step is to start with my fractions when I subtract. I can now take away 9. I can take away 4 from 9. If I take away 4 from 9, I am left with 5. My denominator remains the same. So now my fraction is 5, 6. And now I'm going to subtract my whole numbers. 11 minus 8 is 3. And my last step is going to be to box my answer. So my final answer is 3 and 5, 6. Beautiful. So I'm going to walk us through these steps one more time. I think I may have gotten a little off track with my numbering of my steps. So I'm going to take this time to go back and repeat exactly what my steps are. My first step is always to write my equation in stacked form, which is why I originally wrote 12 and 3, 6 minus 8 and 4, 6. That is my step 1. My step 2 is to start with my fractions. It's going to be to start with my fractions. That is step 2. I looked at 3, 6 minus 4, 6. I cannot take away 4 from 3 because 3 is smaller than 4. So I had to borrow. When I want to borrow, now I am going into my step 3. My step 3 is to borrow from my whole number. When I borrow from my whole number, I'm going to cross my whole number out, which was 12. I'm going to make that 11. And then I still have to think about 12. 11 plus what number gives me 12? 1. When I'm thinking about fractions, I need to understand, and I know that I understand that if my numerator and denominator are the same, it's going to equal 1 whole. So that's why I put 6 over 6. So 6 over 6 equals 1. 11 plus 1 equals 12. And then my fourth step is to carry over my fraction of 3, 6, and I'm going to add it with 6, 6. And once I do that, I am ready to make my new improper mixed number, which is 11 and 9, 6. Then I go down to step 5. Step 5 is to move my second mixed number over. I'm going to move my second mixed number over, which is why now I have 11 and 9, 6 minus 8 and 4, 6. Then my step 6 is going to be to subtract my fractions. I'm going to subtract my fractions. That is step 6, subtract my fractions. So 9 minus 4 equals 5. My denominators of 6 will remain the same. So my final fraction answer is 5, 6. My step 6 is to subtract my whole number. It's to subtract my whole number. My whole numbers are 11 and 8. 11 minus 8 equals 3. 11 minus 8 equals 3. And so now my final step, which is step 7, is to box or circle my final answer. My final answer is 3 and 5, 6. And I'm going to box that or circle it, and that's the end of my problem. And this is exactly how each scholar should be showing their work when we're doing these subtraction problems. Yes, I'm going to do one more regrouping problem. So let me clear all of my drawings for you. And my next equation I'm going to do is, I'm going to just make this up off the top of my head. Let's do 10 and 2 ninths minus, I will say 6 and 8 ninths. My first step again is to write my equation in stacked form. And that's what I did. So step 1 is already complete. Step 2 is I'm going to start by looking at my fractions to see if I need to borrow. I'm going to look to my fractions and see if I need to regroup or borrow. I have 8 and 2. I cannot take away 8 from 2. I cannot take away 8 from 2. So I have to borrow, which moves me into my step 3. Step 3 is to borrow from my whole number. When I borrow from my whole number, I'm going to cross this out and I'm going to make this a 9. I make a parentheses right here. I make this a 9. 9 plus what equals 10? 1. When I'm thinking about a fraction, if my denominator and my numerator are the same number, it is going to equal 1 whole. My denominator is 9. So if I want to make this 1 whole, my denominator and my numerator must be the same number, 9. 9 plus 1 equals 10. And then I am going to carry over. So now I'm entering into my step 4. My step 4 is I'm going to carry my fraction over, which is 2 ninths, which is 2 ninths. Yes, my step 4 is to carry my fraction over. And now I'm going to add them. I'm going to add everything up to get a new improper mixed number. I'm adding my fractions first. 9 plus 2 equals 11. My denominator will stay the same, which is 9. My whole number remains the same, which is 9. So my new improper mixed number is 9 and 11 ninths. Yes? Now my step 4, I'm sorry, my step 5, my step 5 is to move my second fraction over. Step 5 is to move my second fraction over, which is 6 and 8 ninths equals. Now I'm going to subtract. Now my step 6 is to subtract my fractions. Step 6 is to subtract my fractions. 11 minus 8 equals 3. And my denominator is going to stay the same, which is 9. So my final fraction answer is 3 ninths. My step 7 is subtract my whole numbers. My step 7 is to subtract my whole numbers. 9 minus 6 equals 3. My step 8 is to box or circle my answer. My final answer is 3 and 3 ninths. And that is all you have to do when you are subtracting mixed numbers when you need to regroup. Yes. I am also going to write each of these steps that I'm doing out, and I will attach them to Class Dojo in our class story as well. Just so you all be clear on these exact steps. I'm going to clear my screen, and I'm going to do 2 problems of just statically subtracting mixed number fractions. Static means we do not need to regroup. So again, I'm going to choose 2 made up random fractions. I'm going to choose 5 and 4 fifths minus 2 and 1/5. Again, my step 1 is always the same. Write my equation down in stacked form, which is what I did. Stacked form means the 2 fractions are on top of each other and my 2 whole numbers are on top of each other. Step 2 is to always start at my fraction to see if I need to regroup. Do I need to regroup? Can I take away 1 from 4? Can I take away 1 from 4? Yes, I can. And once I do that, I'm just going to strictly go straight to subtracting my fraction. 4 minus 1 equals 3. My denominator will remain the same, which is 5. My final fraction answer is 3/5. Next, I'm going to move over to my whole numbers. 5 minus 2 equals 3. And I'm going to, again, box or circle my final answer. 3 and 3/5 is my final answer. Very simple. There is no need to borrow here because you can take away 4 minus, or you can take away 1 from 4. If I have 4 pieces of bubble gum and I take away 1, I'm left with 3, which is a lot different if I'm saying, can I take away 4 from 1? If I have 1 piece of bubble gum, I can't take away 4 pieces from this one. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do this one in burgundy. 16, 10 over 25. 16 and 10 25ths minus 10 and let's say 3/25. I'm gonna always, again, I wrote them in stack form, so my step one is done. I'm gonna go to step two, which is to look at my fraction to see if I need to regroup. I do not need to regroup because I can subtract three minus, I can take three away from 10. I can take three, oops. I can take three away from 10. That would leave me seven. So I'm gonna skip right on down all the way to subtracting my fractions. 10 minus three equals seven. My denominator remained the same, which is 25. And now I'm going to subtract my whole numbers. 16 minus 10 equals 6. So my final answer, I'm going to circle it or box it, which is 6 and 7/25. And that is my final answer. I'm going to stop. I'm going to clear my screen and I'm going to stop sharing my whiteboard in 3, 2, and 1. There you go. So now, scholars and parents, that was a really quick review on subtracting mixed number fractions, both with regrouping and without regrouping. Please, scholars, please look at this video so you can be able to do your math assignment work. Remember, scholars and parents, before you submit this work through Class Dojo or through email, I must see shown work for every single problem. Shown work is what I just did in this video. I need to be able to see clearly that the scholars know what they are doing, because this is going to be a major skill for fifth grade. In the fifth grade, their teachers are going to be expecting them to know how to show their work effectively and fluently. And showing work only helps the teacher help the students in the long run. So please, before you submit this work to me, either through Class Dojo or through email, remember I must see the shown work for each problem for this assignment. You all remember to stay safe, stay home. I miss all of you very much. We will meet again soon. I hope you all are being safe at home. And if you need anything, please feel free to reach out to me via Class Dojo, email, by phone, by text, anything. I am here to help you. With all that being said, I miss you all once again. Good luck on your math work. And thank you for all of you for being so diligent and working with so much rigor on all of this work. Have a very good evening. Let me know if you need any help. Bye.